773, you have Airbus Quebec. Thanks for that. Your number 6, you'll follow that E175 just turn on to Bravo and monitor targeting.
Yeah, Quebec will follow 170 over tower, thanks, so that's over.
Okay, we're back. All right, everybody, we're back in business.
Grand American 1974, taxi, spot 3 of the Quebec. 1974, taxi, spot 3.
I'm sorry, who's it?
American 1974 at spot 3 of the Quebec, great taxi.
Oh, thanks, sorry. American 1974, only 31, taxi Gulf to Bravo. Gulf Bravo.
Gulf Bravo to 31, American 1974.
Can you guys see the screen right now? Anybody? Hello? Okay, guys, right now we are currently looking at LaGuardia Airport in New York.
Ground American 1626, spot 1, taxi with Papa.
American 1626, LaGuardia ground. Let's see. Now we have a white trail, unfortunately. Runway 31, taxi Alpha Kilo Bravo, and then hold short of Lima. And I'll get a couple more on.
Alpha Kilo Bravo, short of Lima, American 1626.
Hopefully you guys can hear our live ATC radio going on right now. Currently we're listening to LaGuardia Ground. This is New York City.
We're on Bravo, going to lane number 7.
Station 43 away ground. Which gate? What is it?
Gate 43, lane 7.
Oh, that's excellent. It'll be Echo Alpha to the ramp, but Echo will give way to the app on American 737.
The ramp, then we'll give way to the 7.
All right, looks like we've got more people joining. That's good. Good news. Glad people are joining up to see what we've got to offer today.
Ground Booster 5162 with Jackson Butters.
65162 ground at 8, runway 31, taxi Alpha Lima Bravo, your number 6, Airbus Quebec.
We have exactly Alpha Lima Bravo, runway.
American 1974, Airbus Quebec is trying to find install you already, your number 5, all the way down monitor.
We have Quebec over the target, American 1974.
Clear 5969 LaGuardia ground, taxi Bravo, hold short of Juliet, let me know.
Bravo 7 Juliet, we'll let you know.
okay, you said you're clearing it, Julie. Just stay on Bravo short, Juliet. I'll get you the rest of the way in a second.
Thank you, sir. Bravo short, Juliet.
Hey, Internet world. Hope all of you are doing great, enjoying your time at home, and staying safe out there. Gonna start the presentation here in about a minute or two. Gonna let people join up and log on here. So kind of a little bit of a last minute spin up here, but we're gonna get going here shortly. Right now, you're currently looking at a live map of New York's LaGuardia Airport. You can see each one of the little airplanes there on the screen. This is what air traffic control would currently be seeing from their radar scope. Each one of the airplanes has a little tag there. It's got their airline code and flight number.
So, 65162, number 5, monitor.
So currently, you can hear ATC in the background here. We've got them on live radio. And by the way, all of this stuff can be
gauge Delta 94, cleared
pulled up on your own personal computer at home.
Delta 94, was that Frickus for Dan 27?
Currently, we're looking at the website called airportviewer.com.
Taxi Bravo, Juliet Alpha.
So you can even see your own hometown airport if you'd like.
Thanks, Frickus 5969 behind this United Express, Juliet Alpha, Ram City, cleared in.
Yes, sir, Juliet Alpha behind the 145.
We're listening to live ATC. They have a website and also a iPhone app, which is what we're currently using. Not getting paid by any of these people, unfortunately. So this is just sharing some public knowledge. If anybody's interested in hanging out and listening in on the daily air traffic of your area. Hey, Mom. We're going to have to do things a little bit different than I was planning just because of the way that Facebook won't let me switch back and forth between sharing this internet page and just a live view. Some of the things I'm going to share once we get to the video.
Delta 27,
So
24 is on Bravo for Delta 6.
We'll just start here with air traffic control.
Bravo short of Kilo, we'll let you know Delta 27, 24. Ground, Southwest 286, 9 Alpha, taxi Quebec.
Southwest 286 to 40 ground, taxi Lima Bravo to 31.
Lima Bravo to 31, Southwest 286.
American 1626 at Lima, follow to Southwest, 8 is Quebec to the current.
Follow Southwest Lima, American 1626.
Southwest 286, 8 is Quebec to the current. If you didn't say it already, you're number 5. Once you're on Bravo, monitor tower.
Yep, we got Bravo for Southwest 286 and we'll monitor tower.
Yes, John. Bravo is where you're going, and Quebec to the other center. You got it. Have a good day.
Roger that, Southwest 286.
American 1626, follow Southwest monitor tower. Have a good day.
Over tower, 1626.
Currently just giving people a little bit of time to join up before we get started. Thanks for your patience and sticking with me here. Planning on only trying to go for about 30 to 45 minutes of aviation fun and enjoyment for everybody out there. It is interactive. I do have the comments up, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to add there. I'll try and respond as appropriate as I can as we go along.
Delta 2724, Juliet Alpha, Kilo, give way to an outbound United.
Juliet Alpha, Kilo, give way to United, Delta 2724.
Right now, we're just listening to air traffic control. So one thing that is still pretty interesting is that there's only one radio frequency that all of these airplanes on the screen can talk to at once.
40 ground.
So everybody has to wait their turn, and you can hear the back and forth between each of the airplanes and the ground controller. Each one of these roadways that, or I guess what look like roadways to you. The two big ones are the runways, and the smaller ones are taxiways. Each one of them have a letter associated with them, and I'll be showing that a little bit later on the map that I have to show you guys.
Quebec is currently number 5 all the way up on Bravo Monitor Tower.
Number 5, or we have Quebec over the tower, good day.
But right now we're listening to ground. They're telling these airplanes where to go.
Ground Delta 2724, can we do Victor Mike?
I missed it, was it?
Delta 2724, can we go Victor Mike entry?
Yes, that's approved.
If you listen really closely and listen for the call sign, you can find the airplane on the map.
We got 4362 ground. Just stay on Bravo, short of Juliet. Let me know.
So he's talking to the airplane on the left side of the screen that has the code RPA.
Okay. You taxi Echo Alpha ramp for Jet 4362. Just tell me the gate one more time. Echo Alpha into the ramp. Our gate is Charlie 7 for Jet 4362.
So currently this airplane right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. This is the airplane that they're talking to. And they're telling them to taxi down. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. And we can see the letters on the taxiways here. You can also see the gate numbers.
Endeavor 5502, you can taxi now 31 Zulu Alpha and Mike Bravo. Zulu Alpha,
just giving people a little bit more time to join up, and then we'll get going. Again, thanks for your patience.
And short of, let's say, Lima for now. Zulu Alpha, short of Lima for now. Number 230954 is open.
Because unlike pilots, some people show up a little bit late. Pilots, we're always on time.
Number 2309, just want to verify. Confirm 54 open.
Echo 2309, you said the gate is open? Echo Alpha ramp.
Echo Alpha, Delta 2309. Ground over 352, requesting 30 on Mike for push.
Alright, who was that?
Delta 352, requesting 30 on Mike.
Delta 352, 30 on Mike is approved, and did you call clearance?
Negative, we got RCP DLC.
Check.
Trying to zoom in here just so you can see the different letters on the taxiways. This taxiway here is Bravo.
502, now full to the taxiway, Mike.
Sure, Mike, now Delta 502.
This is the airplane they just talked to down here in the bottom right corner, Endeavor, EDV 5502.
United 682, clears going to gate 46. United 682, everybody is ground. Continue Bravo, host the taxiway Juliet, and as I.
So as a pilot, as we're leaving the gate or after we just landed and we're trying to get back to our gate, we have to listen to this frequency, which is called ground.
Fairway 342, I guess our company's about to push pretty soon, so we'll be in after them.
Fairway 347.
It is a party line, so only one communication at a time, which can sometimes be difficult, especially here in the New York area with lots and lots of airplanes. Once we talk to ground, they give us instructions on how to taxi to the gate. They're basically coordinating all of the movement on the ground. In the cockpit, we have a map of the whole airport, just kind of like you see here.
502 behind the southwest, continue on Alpha, Kilo, Bravo, straight to Lima for station.
And when they give us the directions, we write them down.
Alright, Alpha,
and then we follow them.
Kilo,
Pretty easy.
Bravo, short Lima, behind Southwest, Airbus 502.
And ground 682, they tell us spot 8 to the gate, open. United 682, Roger, continue, Bravo, Juliet, and then Alpha at Kilo. It's going to give way to an opposite direction, CRJ 9. Bravo, Juliet, Alpha at Kilo will give way to the RJ, United 682.
The whole time this is going on, we're trying to listen for our particular call sign and to each other to get a big picture of what's going on the entire airport. All right, let me check to see how many we got in here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, if we already haven't. But as you can see here, we've got New York's LaGuardia Airport.
659, C37 over, request lane 9 entry.
We're listening to live ATC radio. If any of you are interested in doing this on your own, you can go to liveatc.net.
Bravo, Juliet, Alpha.
They also have a Apple iPhone application that you can download. I think it costs a few dollars, but allows you to listen along with all sorts of different radio frequencies out there. And we're currently looking at airportviewer.com. They show all sorts of major airports and all the traffic. This is what air traffic control would normally see. We're going to go ahead and pause live ATC radio there. As you can tell, they're pretty busy, and just so we can be uninterrupted in our discussion today. Hopefully everybody can see the screen well. Try to zoom in here. This is just a map of the airport. You can see gates down in, on the bottom side of the screen, and then the runways and taxiways on the top and right side of the screens there, as well as all of the airplanes that are on the airport. Right now, American Airlines is taking off on runway 31. You can see them moving along there. Just like roads that you would drive your car on, each one of our roads, or what we call taxiways, has a letter to identify them. We use those to help us figure out where we're going. Air traffic controllers, known as ground controllers, will be in charge of coordinating all the airplane movement. Once an airplane lands and is off of the runway, they need to taxi to their gate. And so that we don't have airplanes running into each other or causing a traffic jam, ground controllers help coordinate where we're going. So right now this aircraft, ACA 714 on the top left of your screen, it's taxiing back to the gate. They're on taxiway Bravo. Not quite sure where they're going because we turned off the radio, but ground will typically hold them somewhere, normally somewhere in this top left side of the screen until they know if the gate's open, because we don't want to create traffic jams. And then they'll coordinate and allow them to taxi back to their gate. Same thing going out when you're leaving the gate and going to take off. You'll push back from the gate and talk to ground, and they will coordinate you to taxi out to the runway. As you can see in the bottom right hand side of the screen, this airplane labeled RPA 6090, that would be Brickyard or Republic, my old company. Shout out to those guys. If anybody's former Republic and listening in. They're now taxiing down taxiway Bravo, going to runway 31 for departure. So they'll talk to ground. Ground will tell them where to go, and they will drive the aircraft down that way and get ready to take off. All right, moving along, we're going to now, again, like I said, this is a little bit different than what I wanted to do just because of the limitations of Facebook Live and me being complete new to this, and this is my first time. So we're going to go to a live, or not a live, it's just a 360-degree inside view of the airplane cockpit. Now this is currently the airplane that I fly. This is the Airbus 220, brand new airplane in Delta's fleet. As you can see, we've got the cockpit door, and we can see down all the way back into the passenger section there. Off to the right here, we have what looks like to be a folded up airplane seat. That is called the jump seat. So if you ever hear anybody saying, hey, can I get the jump seat? That's what this is. What happens is this seat moves to the left, right in front of the door here, and folds down as an extra seat in the cockpit for pilots that are trying to catch a ride when all of the seats are filled up in the back, or if an FAA inspector would like to ride along and see how the pilots in the front are doing. Let's see if we can zoom out here a little bit. All right. As we move around the cockpit here, we have some emergency equipment. Down here on the bottom, we have a fire extinguisher and some other emergency equipment. All right, now we're looking at the co-pilot seat. As you can see, there's a joystick there. This airplane does not have the conventional steering wheel type controls. It's controlled by a joystick, kind of like a fighter jet pilot would have. And that allows us to control the airplane's movement up and down and left and right. And we've got our main view of the cockpit here. We've got lots of different screens and buttons. Just start here in the middle. I don't know if you can see the mouse, but the bottom here, we've got two different white levers. The one on the right is the flaps, and we're going to go over airplane parts here in just a little bit. So this lever right here will control the flaps, and those are used primarily for takeoff and landing. So we use those to help aid in that part of flying. To the left here, the big long white lever is the spoilers or speed brakes. That's helped to slow down the aircraft. So just like the name, speed brakes. It brakes the speed or helps slow us down in case pulling the power back doesn't slow us down quite as much as we'd like. Here in the middle, the two white levers in the middle, those are thrust levers. So unlike a car, which you guys are mostly familiar with a gas pedal, we don't have a gas pedal. We have thrust levers. This controls the power of the engines. So as you can see, there's a split in the middle. So there's a left and a right for the left and the right engine. And those can be operated simultaneously or individually. And so to go faster, we push the throttles up towards the front of the airplane, and to slow down, we pull them back towards the back of the airplane. So just kind of like a car, you would push your foot on the pedal forward to go fast and let off of the gas to slow down. We do have pedals. You can see on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, both left and right sides of the airplane have exactly the same controls. That's so both pilots can do any and all of the flying. We typically switch back and forth between one pilot and the next per each flight leg. But as you can see down here in the right-hand corner, we've got some pedals. Those are what we call rudders. Those serve two purposes. One is to turn the nose of the plane left and right, and the other is our brakes. So like a car, we have brakes down at our feet, and we use our toes to push on the top of these pedals, and that slows the airplane down when we need to. So some similarities to a car, and also some differences. So we've got the gas here in the middle, we've got brakes down by our feet, and instead of a round steering wheel like you'd have in your car, we have a joystick here off to the right-hand side and left-hand side. In the middle, we've got all the screens that have all of our instrumentation. As you can see, that there are some that are that look similar. So the far left and the far right screens are both the same. Again, that's because we have able to fly the aircraft from both sides of the airplane. Here in the middle, in the very middle, you can see a little white knob. It's kind of hard to see, but that's the landing gear lever. That's what brings the wheels up once we take off. So as we're on the ground, we've got the wheels out, and we're using those to taxi around. And once we take off, they create a lot of drag. And drag slows the airplane down, and we want to go fast. So to prevent that drag, we put the gear up, and so it folds up underneath the airplane. And we'll see some pictures of that and try and show you on my model airplane here in just a minute. The second screen on the left-hand side that has a bunch of gauges and numbers on it, that's a multifunctional display that we have. On the right side of that screen, it's split into two, is all of our engine instruments. That tells us things like how much thrust we have, oil pressure, oil quantity, different settings such as the flaps, and then a temperature of the airplane. So because we control the temperature of the back of the aircraft from up here. On the right hand side, you can see again the split screen. Right now it's showing a system diagram of the electric system there on the left, and then on the right is a map. It's not a great picture of the map. Can't really see it all that great just because of the quality of the picture there, but that's the map that we use to navigate around. As you can see up here on the top portion of the screen is the glare shield. This also has a bunch of different buttons that control different things that we need when we're flying the airplane. Right here in the middle, this is the most important part, and one that most people always talk about when they say these planes will fly themselves. This is the autopilot and auto throttle control system here, and also allows us to control the airplane. So when we're not using the side sticks here to manually fly the airplane and the autopilot's on, we can control what the airplane is doing with this panel right here. To the left and right of that is a audio control panel. As you heard earlier, we were talking on the radio, and we use this control panel here to tune different frequencies to talk to different people as we fly along through our route. We're going to pan up to the top of the airplane. We see the big windows here, and then we've got more buttons. Each one of these buttons controls a particular system of the aircraft, and they're grouped accordingly. So not sure if you can read those, but on the left hand side we have some windshield heat. We've got the CVR, or the cockpit voice recorder controls, which record everything we say up in the cockpit. Got some lights. In the middle, we have engine fire protection buttons there at the top, in case one of the engines has an issue. We've got the hydraulic panel, the fuel panel, electrical panel, and air panel. So each one of those systems is grouped accordingly and controls everything in the airplane. So each one of these buttons does a different thing, and you learn all of that when you go to airplane school. And on the right hand side, we just have some more lights, pressurization panel, and then at the very bottom, all the lights for outside of the airplane. The little silver protrusions here on the side, those are lights at the top, and then the ones below it are just air vents for us. Our airplane windows don't open, so if we ever had to get out of the airplane, we have a emergency exit up here, and that's on the ceiling. So you'd wonder, how the heck would we get out there? Well, you pull this down, and the top pops open, and then we can climb out on the seats. There's little steps right here next to the headrest that you can step on and climb out of the aircraft. And that pretty much does it for the interior of the airplane. Just give a nice quick once over again of everything. All right, now we're going to take a look at some different airplanes. Over here to the right, we've got a picture of one of the newest airplanes in the Delta fleet, next to the 220, which is the Airbus 350. You can tell that this airplane is the 350 by the cockpit window here. You can see that it's got a very unique shape to it and has black paint around it. That's to help reduce the glare into the cockpit. Next airplane we've got, this one is another picture of the Airbus 350. And moving along, this is the 737, Boeing 737. The way you can tell this is the 737 is on the wingtips, they have things that we call winglets. And these have very unique winglets, big on top, small on bottom. And those help with drag reduction to help make the airplane more efficient as we fly. All right, and now we are going to the live section of today's fun and interactive lesson, and we'll see if I can see any comments. I haven't been able to see that as I've been showing you the